Welcome back, Purple Acorn Live. My name is Clark Willcox, founder of Digital Recruiter and Purple Acorn partner. I'm joined by Daniel Harten at hireEZ. Daniel, what's going on, man?
It has been an amazing day.
Yeah.
The sun is shining bright. It's hot out.
Yeah.
A lot of information, a lot of takeaways so far at RecFest.
Yeah, I feel like Shaq at the free throw line, but we'll be all right.
That's right.
Don't mind that. So, what's been biggest takeaway for you today?
One was Steve White. He is the head of talent at Sam's Club, and he talked a little bit about two successful coaches. I'm a big athlete, I love sports, and he talked about two of the bigger players in college football. Nick Saban, who is an excellent coach, and how he has built a dynasty and how you build a team, and it comes from leadership from the top down. He also talks about the 2004 Lakers when they had Kobe Bryant, Shaq. As you bring up Shaq, they had Karl Malone, they had Gary Payton, 4 Hall of Famers on the same team, and they couldn't win. So what was the fundamental problem of that? So he kind of dives in deep. Everybody needs to know their role specifically and empower your team to do what they're designed to do.
I love it. I wish I hit that talk up. That's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Sounds like a great talk. So, for those that don't know, the uneducated, which if you're in the recruiting space, I'd be surprised if you don't know hireEZ.
Yeah.
But give us a breakdown of hireEZ and what is it you do?
Yeah, we're a full talent acquisition platform powered by Agentic AI. Specifically, what I do there is I lead the customer marketing team. So any type of events, any type of webinars, any type of conferences, we want to make sure that the voice of the recruiters isn't lost in this whole wave of AI and Agentic AI and all the other things going on. We really want to make sure that the communication and the conversations are being had with people and building relationships and building the community. I know at Purple Acorn, that's one of their missions too, is just connect dots with people, connect conversations to make an impact. And that's what I get up for and I get excited about.
I love it. Well, we both have, shall we say, humble recruiting roots. I've been commercial recruiters back at Aerotech.
Yes.
It's quite a journey to be in that seat, which I was in LA. I think you were in Minnesota.
Yes.
Right. So, like the cliff notes of the journey there, like how did that starting point kind of prep you for what you're doing now?
Sure. I think one of the biggest descriptive words a recruiter can have is can you adapt to the different environments and different ups and downs of this industry? From a foundational standpoint, Aerotech back in the day gave you the resources, the tools to understand what hard work is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then transition to building teams over at Amazon and AWS. And what that taught me was how to scale a process, scale a team, scale something to 10x. They always talk about how do you 10x something.
Absolutely.
Then transition to Meta, where it was more on the executive search side. So it had to be very specific people, very specific searches, and how are you going to be strategic to get those people to respond? All through those different journeys in my career set me up for doing this, of talking the talk, understanding what leaders are dealing with on an everyday within recruiting, and the pain points that they're hearing, and how do I provide a solution for them.
So you really had a blend of everything.
Yes.
Like the blend. So with that and having the exposure to different environments and being on the HR tech side and what do you feel is like, if I'm going to make it as a recruiter, whether it's corporate, whether it's agency, like how do I have to approach like day to day? What does my mindset need to be successful the rest of this decade and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, the cliche is obviously dive into AI, but I would say dive into AI in a way that, what are you going to really focus in on the recruiting process? There's the recruiting workflow, there's probably 10, 12, 14 stages within that. It's not one button to complete the whole process and say it's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
What's one specific area in that process that your team is going to get really, really good at?
Yeah.
Or on the flip side, what are you really, really, really struggling at? We talk about a lot about, okay, what are the open rates and reply rates? Great, Agentic AI can craft great messaging to get that. what's the funnel after that? How long does it take that recruiter to reach out to that candidate that replied? Maybe you start looking at those metrics, because typically if you're doing an AI drip campaign, they replied, that campaign stops for that individual. So are we going to measure how long is it going to take for that recruiter to actually reach out to them and get a face-to-face contact? I think that's a big takeaway. From a recruiting marketing standpoint, I think the biggest next wave of this is GEO. Are you familiar with there's SEO and the GEO, right?
Is that the LLM version of SEO?
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly. To sum it up. So generative engine optimization.
Yep.
How are companies going to be showing up in those LLMs to the candidates? If I was looking for a job right now, I would type in who's hiring for this specific role in Minnesota in my LLM. It's going to pull up those companies. I can start asking the ChatGPT or Claude of saying, give me some intel, give me some interview questions, who has the best work-life balance, who has the best benefits. It's going to give me all that details to create my search in my new opportunity. But if you don't have those reviews, you don't have those things that are showing up on the social media, on your web page, your job descriptions, they're not showing up in the specific employer branding, you're not going to be able to be an X factor and stand out with all the other competition. So I think GEO is going to be the next wave of this from a recruiting marketing standpoint. And how is your company showing up in those?
What's a simple way to kind of start? If I am a company that wants to improve employer marketing, maybe I want to try to do some things myself.
Yeah.
What do you typically recommend?
Yeah,
great. Kind of on their own. Yeah.
Great question. A couple of them would be, look at your job descriptions right now. I want a hard worker isn't going to show up in an LMM. I want, those basic qualifications that are on every single job description. Rework those job descriptions and what exactly are you specifically looking for from the hard, skills that you need, but also what else do you need in the opportunity, or what are you offering? Also, blogging, having a blog, or again, a podcast. One of the biggest things of how that's going to translate is the more conversations you have. There's transcripts out there talking about your company, videos. How are you going to be in that algorithm from a social media standpoint? That's going to incorporate into those LMMs eventually, because the links are going to be there. So some of the takeaways is figure out a specific thing and how are you, for example, this podcast can get turned into a blog. It could get turned into a video. It could be on YouTube. It could be a short form video. You can dice that specific content up into 5 different categories in different avenues to get the increased visibility within those platforms.
Absolutely. The repurposing content, when you just create stuff that's evergreen. I'm going back to posts 2 or 3 years ago and seeing the themes that are relevant to this year and all that. And I have all that data from just putting myself out there. And it's so interesting just to see the trends and, I strayed away from this topic. I actually need to kind of go back to this topic. When you have that and you can look at some numbers, but also kind of gauge what is resonating with your market, and you have a full database. It's like it becomes easier and easier to create the more you do it, kind of just like that muscle building type of thing. So I guess the question from that is like, what got you to start being more public and posting, and what effect did that have for you?
Sure. A big thing was, I got laid off a couple years ago from Meta, big organization. Thought I was, top of the pyramid, top of the mountain, and sometimes this industry picks you up and spits you out and makes you rethink and reteach and relearn. I think it was the best thing for me because I had to retrain my brain of how to operate in a new environment and really going out and figure out who the people are in the space, like a Steve Levy or a Brian Fink or some of those players that are doing speaking circuits, and it would reach out to them and says, hey, what can I do? How can I learn from you? And get me out of my comfort zone. I think that's the first thing is to be in the community, reach out, ask for help, and then you teach others as well.
And you got to give more than you get.
100%.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing for me is this year we did a virtual recruiting conference, and we had over almost 4,000 people sign up for it. And people are like, that's great, Dan. How did you do it? And it wasn't me. It was creating an environment that's a safe space to have knowledge shared and having the speakers kind of speak on it on your behalf, essentially. It wasn't me. I didn't speak. It was making sure that just like this, information is coming back and forth and really elevating and helping each other out to increase the recruiting efforts within our industry, because if we're not fighting for it, nobody is going to, and the industry is going to be broken or dead in the next couple of years. So we got to fight for every single penny, every single ounce, and get better.
You just got to show up. Whether post today, 1 follower, 100, it really doesn't matter. You just keep getting up there, you'll find your tribe, and I love that. So for the audience, I mean, hireEZ is like a known tool, but how do you recommend someone, with all the tech that's out there, you guys have been around longer than most, like, who is hireEZ for?
Sure. So it would be for, enterprise, mid-market, enterprise teams that are really wanting to elevate, obviously, the sourcing efforts, but also integrate with your current ATS. And we have rediscovery. We have all this other stuff within it, backed by Agentic AI. The cool thing about hireEZ, a lot of people say, hey, we have Agentic, we have AI, we have this and that, but they don't show the product. They don't show anything. They just kind of talk about it. On our webpage, our website, we show it. We have webinars, we show the product. So you don't have to sit through, an hour-long session with a salesperson just to see the product, feel the product, and make sure that it's going to be the right fit for you. Not every organization, it will be the right fit, but we want to make sure that if it is the right fit, we're going to set you up for success for that.
I love it. I've had a couple of clients swear by it and love it, and I've always been impressed when I've seen the platform. So, Dan, dude, appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Great to officially meet you in person.
Yes.
And enjoy the rest of your RecFest, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, man.